Welcome back to another episode of It's All Been Trekked Before, this time the Gamesters of Triskelion. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. We all know what you're thinking. But we'll dive deep into all the things you're thinking about here on this episode. Also, another way to keep this thing going, patreon.com, IABD. Get all that bonus content is what I mean by tent. Check it out there. You can support us there. The more you support us, the more you're going to hear. We got a long way to go with these Trek episodes. We're only in season 2. So please go there, support us, and you'll get a lot of kickback, if you will. The legal kind. Also, coming up this Saturday, the latest live It's All Been Done radio show at Mad Lab. For tickets, go to madlab.net. And it's the special Valentine's Day show. Hey, bring that special someone or maybe meet that special someone. Hey, it's a good excuse to ask someone out for a date. I wouldn't look past it, but I'm married. Also, want to thank our editors, all the great jobs that they've been doing on all our great episodes. And speaking of which, this is a great episode. Gamesters of Triskelion here on It's All Been Trekked Before.
Welcome out to another episode of It's All Been Trekked Before. Many of your regulars are here. I'm sure you already hear Zoe.
This is Steven.
And Colleen.
And Jimmy-Jerome. And we just watched the Gamesters of Triskelion.
Triskelion.
I always say that one wrong.
I thought it was Triskelion, and now I was obviously wrong. Now that I've watched the episode again. Clearly, it's been a while.
For some reason, I've been saying Triskelion, which makes no sense whatsoever.
We all learned a lot already today.
Rare episode we're doing sober.
Yeah.
We don't usually record sober.
We may be residually drunk, but yeah. Thank you, Laura Spires.
She's the worst.
She is.
Don't worry, I stomped her.
So, first impressions of this episode.
I think as a kid I liked this episode a lot, but then when we were talking about it last episode and reflecting back on it, I wasn't looking forward to this episode a whole lot, other than seeing Angelique Pettyjohn, Shauna. So I guess it met my expectations somewhere in the middle. I didn't hate it, but I definitely didn't love it. It was just okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I would agree with that, if not even a little bit below. I feel like every genre show these days, any science fiction or superhero, whatever, does the episode where their heroes are kidnapped and pitted against other people in some type of fight arena. And I always hate those episodes.
Yeah, and I don't like it, and I know we've got more to come.
Yeah.
In I don't know if season 2, but in season 3 I know there's a few then, and I don't like them either.
I don't get why they've become such a staple.
To me, they don't offer that much.
No.
And I'd forgotten how easily they resolve in this episode. They're like, hey, how about we have a game, and if we win, we get free, and if we don't, whatever. Yeah, which has been in plenty of movies, TV shows, everything. Just like, up the stakes, blah, 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 up the ante. Colleen, did you have any impressions? Other than laughing when people...
It was a very silly episode.
Lars got killed. That's fair. That's fair to say.
It was very silly.
That is fair to say. And she laughed when Shauna cried at the end.
Because it was silly. The close-up with the single tear. Goodbye, Jim Kirk.
Yeah.
I like that, but I don't think it's earned, is what I think... Yeah, as an actress, I thought she did a good job with that scene, but I just
Sometimes you gotta sell the shit.
She committed to it, but I just didn't think the episode itself earned that.
This episode had speaking of acting ability, some of the worst overacting I think we've seen from Shatner yet.
Yeah, and I wondered if that was because he was acting with nobody else a lot of the times on his line. So when he was yelling at the providers, when he didn't know who they were, and then when he's talking to a bubble enclosed with fake brains. Yeah.
Including one that was sometimes green, sometimes not.
I thought it was interesting. I enjoyed that they cut to a shot of a different brain depending on which one was talking, so you knew which one was talking, like it mattered which brain was talking.
Well, but when there was a wider shot where you could see multiple brains and one was talking, they were all pulsing. Like, you couldn't tell.
Yeah. Which I liked that they were moving, but it was like... Do all brains in all galaxies look that way, I guess?
And there's only 3 of their race left.
But I thought there were more than 3 voices at one time.
Well, even when he made the wager at the very end, it was like, the first one was like 500 on him, and the other 2 were like this much against him. And then there was a 4th voice that bet, and I was like, well, where's that voice coming from?
Maybe one of them has several voices.
Maybe.
They're an advanced species.
They definitely reminded me of the stories I've listened to on record of the original series, like LP, where they have these weird overacting voices that just sound ridiculous rather than seeming like authentic characters.
One of those voices I read was the guy who also did the Mission Impossible, the opening, this tape or this whatever. We'll just
Message will self-destruct.
That's it. You got it.
One of them is Walker Edmiston, who has a ton of credits. The Great Mouse Detective, Dick Tracy, all kinds of stuff. Jem, Alvin and the Chipmunks. So at least he did a lot. I was looking to see if that was the Mission Impossible, but I don't know. Oh, he did 3 episodes of Mission Impossible.
Okay.
Then there's Bob Johnson.
That's who did Mission Impossible.
Did Mission Impossible, yeah.
And I guess Mission Impossible filmed next door, so they...
He's got a lot fewer credits.
Yeah.
But he did a bunch of voices in Star Trek, and he was one of the Telosians in the cage.
Oh, that makes sense.
He did Assignment Earth, the Immunity Syndrome, the Menagerie. So he did a whole bunch. And then the third one was Bart LaRue, who Star Trek is one of the things he's most known for, so that ought to tell you how little he's done. Unfortunately. Although he also did multiple episodes of Star Trek. He was the Guardian's voice in The City on the Edge of Forever. In Patterns of Force, he comes back as a newscaster. Bread and Circuses, Savage Curtain. So definitely not guys that were unknown to Star Trek. Which is kind of cool, I guess. But I don't know. Yeah, and the first one, the Walker guy, he did 5 episodes as well. In Amok Time, he was Space Central. He was Baylock in the Carbonite Maneuver.
Okay.
So they all had other big roles
Voice
where it
things.
was just a voice.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah.
Originally, it was supposed to be Sulu, not Chekhov, that went down. But Sulu was still, or Takei was still filming the Green Berets.
I can't imagine Sulu would have been as amusing when, that scene with Chekhov and the Yellow Woman.
Yeah, Tamoon. They played the sexy music when she first came in, the saxophone or whatever. And then he got really awkward. Was she supposed to be, transgender? Or, was he supposed to be uncomfortable, he didn't know what her species was?
I thought he was just uncomfortable because he's young and he hasn't had a lot of sexual experience.
I guess that makes more sense. Okay.
I thought she did a good job, Jane Ross. I
did
felt
too.
like she had a lot of physical acting that was very alien, the way she walked and everything. She made some choices that distinguish her as an...
I would have been more interested in that relationship than the Kirk and Shauna one.
That's true.
I thought at the very end, actually, that one scene that the two of them have, I thought Chekhov, Koenig, almost looks like he's going to look to the camera like he's going to break the fourth wall. I almost thought he was going to. I knew he wouldn't, but in my mind, it was like, this feels like a scene where he's going to look out and be like, what do I do? Yeah. But he didn't. So I might have had him do that.
Then, of course, you heard us Thrall tries to rape her.
Yeah, I wrote, what happened there?
So it seemed like she fed him off. Yeah.
Right. He said you've been selected. You can't refuse selection. We see the shadow, and looks like she's fighting him off. And then when he leaves, he's buckling something.
I don't know. It definitely seemed like he didn't get what he wanted from her.
Right, because it seemed really quick.
And she didn't seem as flustered as... I don't know. But yeah, the other ones were we can't do anything unless you're selected for this.
Right.
I don't know why her guy was no, let me rape you.
Yeah, so was the idea, okay, you're here, let's make some more thralls? I didn't get that scene. I wasn't sure, because nothing's ever said about it after that, other than we get Shatter reaching out through the bars. That was another bad moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was nice Uhura was... they're like, oh, she's as fierce as Captain Kirk, and they held her up in a very positive light.
Yeah, I wish we got to see her fight more. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say in the initial fight right after they land,
yeah,
each of the guys takes a guy. Uhura takes 2.
Both. Yeah. But then they don't really fight.
They don't. They stop to watch Kirk fight. But
yeah.
It doesn't change the fact that she jumped in there and was like, I'll do this.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I noticed that as well.
I would like to see more of her fighting, and then I did appreciate when they tied her up that she had to have her arms above her, so her skirt raised even higher than ever.
At least they didn't make her put on the same type of outfit. I guess they all had their own outfits, so that makes sense.
I guess that was their home. Yeah, that was their home outfit. As far as fashion. Angelique Shauna's outfit is iconic.
Sure.
And so I appreciated it. Although I think when I was younger, I thought it was more tinfoily, but it's definitely just more of a, what would you call that material, Colleen? What do you think it was?
I don't know.
Like you don't have any guesses?
No.
You're my fashion expert.
I'm not a seamstress. I don't make clothes. I don't.
Fair point. That's fair. Yeah, I thought it was more like metallic when I was younger, but it didn't seem that way. But looked more comfortable than I thought it was. But
It looked like a diaper on the bottom. I mean, it wasn't as sexy as it could have been, even though it was very revealing.
yeah,
Which was an interesting dichotomy. I don't know.
well, it was suitable for jogging,
Sure.
and I didn't remember her hair being green. I guess.
I could have done without the green wig. For sure.
Yeah, I guess I always thought she was just platinum. I don't know why I blocked that out of my memory, but
It looks like the actress is blonde.
yeah, and Angelique Pettyjohn, you can see a lot more of her in a lot of other movies and
A lot more of that than what we saw.
Oh yeah. Let's just say you can see everything.
Okay.
She did a lot of pictorials I shouldn't say a lot of pictorials, but a lot of pictures of her in just half that outfit. Let's say, and then she actually did some adult films later. She thought this might be a breakthrough role, and it just never happened.
She died young.
Died very young, yeah, 49.
48.
48, yeah.
Back in 1992.
Yeah. She had just, and she was one of the first big stars on the convention circuit when Star Trek came back.
Makes sense.
Yeah. She was very much in demand, so that kind of she pretty much made a living off that, which is cool. And then she ended up being in some 80s movies I was reading. Like, she was in Repo Man and did some cameos in some of those. So.
Yeah, her credits go up pretty regularly through the early 80s. And then, that last 5 years of her life or so, that just drops off.
Yeah, and I was wondering if, like, all the other thralls were all, the drill thralls were all humanoid. I was wondering why there weren't any non-humanoid fighters, but...
Yeah, we should have seen a horde or something.
Yeah, and I couldn't... I know she was simple, but is that because she was... Did she say she was born there?
Yes.
Okay, so that makes sense.
She
they
was
never
native
really
to the planet.
educated her.
Yeah. I mean, the yellow woman was definitely from somewhere else. And then we saw an Endorian. And the big guy, we saw...
Klug.
Yeah, we've seen his species before, haven't we?
He looks like the guy from Menagerie, or Cage.
The Cage, yeah. I thought so too.
Colleen laughed over his death. No, you laughed at the other guy's death, Lars.
I only laughed because they did the cutaway
really long,
and then it's like he threw it, and then they didn't show it hit the guy, and then
Right.
they cut to it was already halfway
right.
in his belly, and it was funny.
Well, and that was the one where he's going to throw it at Kirk, but it was even more
but
of
then
like,
Kirk just
I have
ducked.
the spear. Kirk's in the way. Steps away. Throw the spear. Hit
Cut
him.
to
Yeah.
him,
It was
yeah.
like
It was
didn't make any sense. It
The
was
rules of the fight were very unclear too.
They were.
And even the ones they laid out, like don't step out of the color, they ignored.
I will say I like the layout of the arena or whatever, and I like the overhead shots they did. I thought those were some cooler looks. Some
No
different
stunt
looks.
doubles.
Yeah, Shatner was doing his own kicks. I noticed. Yeah, and Shatner was shirtless for a good bit of the episode.
The scene where he was being whipped.
Yeah.
Like there was already the cut when they started across the back, but then everywhere the whip landed, there was like no additional marks or cuts. It like was very like, oh, we already drew some lines on him. We don't need any more.
Yeah,
The
they
makeup
healed
department really dropped the ball on the whip lashes.
the scars.
scars
Yeah,
later.
they really healed weirdly.
Well, and it was just
Quickly.
like
A
they took
couple
a magic
line.
marker and drew 2 lines on it that didn't look anything like.
Yeah.
What was the green-haired chick's name? Shayna.
Yeah.
Shauna.
Her makeup was on point. Clearly, they have beauty makeup artists. And
Yeah,
not
yeah.
visual
They
effects.
spent all the time on her. They didn't have
Yeah,
time for
they
her.
did.
her eyes were fantastic.
Yeah, at first I just thought Kirk was making the most of it when he starts putting the moves on her. I mean, I guess he was trying to use her to get information and stuff, but...
Which he did because they slugged her in the jaw.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that felt a little weird.
Well,
The fact that knocked her out from him clipping her chin was pretty silly.
Well,
yeah.
yeah.
And I think that the thing that made it tougher was they played that lovey-dovey music every time they kissed her and anything, and then that was followed up with a punch there and some of the other spots. So I think that made it, unfortunately, it made it harder, I felt, to buy into the relationship or whatever. I mean, I think Kirk was actually attracted to her physically, obviously.
But just physically.
I think
he
so.
could have taken her away at the end. He didn't want her.
Yeah. And yeah. It wasn't. Yeah.
There was nothing stopping him from being like, sure, he can ride with
It
me.
made me think of Miri, unfortunately, again,
Yeah.
because I felt like, although Shauna is obviously a fully developed woman, physically, mentally, she was like,
Simple.
yeah, she's very simple, very young.
Uneducated.
So that might have been her. Yeah, it probably was her first love. What's the thing she said when he kissed her? Can you?
Was that help?
Yeah.
Can you do?
Can you help?
You help me
again?
again.
Yeah.
That's cheesy.
I noted two of her lines because it was very much her story in the show was very much beyond the awakening and realizing there's other worlds and stuff. The lights in the sky. It's for her. It's a romance.
Where did she think all the other species came from if there were no lights in the sky? Like, nobody had ever mentioned, yeah, we're from outer space.
And apparently that lights in the sky speech that I think it's one Kirk gives, and her lines were used like verbatim in some South Park episode. But I'm sure I've seen it, but I don't remember it. But so she says to him, I didn't know it could be like this between two people.
Yeah.
And then later she says, you lied. Everything you said. And I was just like, you could put those in any romantic comedy or any movie about a relationship and it would fit right in.
Yeah.
So that's my alternate episode is this episode as a romantic comedy. It's the relationship with those two. And,
At the
boy,
end, he does take her.
Starship Captain meets alien girl,
Alien slave girl.
alien slave girl. Starship, they fall in love. They break up. Starship Captain loses alien slave girl. Starship Captain kills 3 other people to get off the planet and takes alien slave girl with him. Yeah.
My alternate episode was very different.
Yeah.
Spock was in his quarters, very upset, worried about Kirk, and McCoy comes in and offers some comfort. Because they had a dynamic this episode. We'll get to their part in a minute. I still want to talk about the planet some more.
Sure.
The design, you mentioned you like the design of the fighting ring. I think the design on the planet in general, they had some really cool production design this episode.
Yeah.
The cells were different and interesting. The collars and the whole system and the decor. I just felt like this episode got more development in production design than most.
Yeah, and I felt like, and I didn't remember this way going in, but I thought the earliest parts where you're figuring out and you're seeing these different parts of this planet, like, okay, that's interesting. What else is going on? And then it's just, hey, we're going to have a fight to see if they can leave the planet. Yeah, it's kind of okay. All right. Yeah, I want to know more about the planet, but maybe there wasn't anything more to know. We got, like you said,
we went to the brain room and we saw the generic artwork on the background,
which was like Devil in the Dark.
Yeah,
that came from Devil in the Dark.
Yeah.
But
no, I just thought it looked cool.
Yeah, it did.
As a whole. Any other notes about the planet? Then we can talk about the ship.
I'm sure I've got some. I thought the music. I'm just crossing out notes. The music in the episode was just a bit. Much.
Yeah.
Did we ever actually see the 3 sons of Triskelion?
We saw 2.
Okay.
I don't think we saw 3. If we did, I missed.
I liked it when Spock called it a trinary system. Yeah, the ship. That part was weird to me too, because I thought McCoy was playing the angry Commodore, the nagging Commodore, whatever part this episode. Because he's like, "Why aren't you doing anything?" He's like, "Well, here's what I'm doing." Well, you should do something else. Okay. Yeah. Hey, you know what? Go to sick bay. There's got to be something you can do there. You don't need to be on the bridge.
Scott had thoroughly checked the transport circuits. Mm-hmm. They thoroughly searched the planet, which they could do much quicker, apparently, than in other episodes.
Right.
And they're like, okay, they're not here. Okay, we have a theory. This is where they are. Okay, so let's go there. Yeah. Why are Scotty and McCoy against following up on the theory?
It was such false drama.
It was.
It leads to, I like the moment where Spock's like, are you guys, is this going to be a mutiny? And then they're like, oh, well, no. They're like, Spock. Oh, we didn't mean that.
No. I'd be perfectly content to do whatever you want.
You're right.
That's not what he says.
Yeah.
Scotty.
Yeah.
I thought that was false too. I just did not buy any of the conflict.
No.
Like, Spock's smart and capable and doing exactly what he should be doing. I don't know why they would stand in his way.
He goes out of his way to state exactly what he's doing, and which is great. But having those two be the guys to argue with him, it didn't work for me.
No. I thought it was interesting. In the end credits and on IMDb, they credit Victoria George as Ensign Jaina Haynes.
Yeah.
She had no lines or anything, did she?
She had one line about searching the planet. Is that what it was or something?
Like,
We did
or
another
taking
check.
it to warp, or was she the blonde? In the
Oh yeah,
grass?
yeah. Oh, so maybe she
Yeah.
had a couple lines. Yeah,
Yeah,
she
Spock talks to her at one point.
she
about
was
it.
backup science officer because she
Yeah.
said something about that, and then she took over navigating too.
but I feel like she didn't have enough to do to rate, like, okay, we're going to give her a name and put her in the credits.
Yeah,
and
Jaina Haynes, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Ensign, too. They gave
Ensign,
her a rank.
yeah.
He did call Spock called her Ensign Haynes.
Ensign Haynes. Yeah. he
I
did.
just, I don't know. I was like, normally if there's a crew member that has, like, a line, they're not,
Right.
like, fully credited that way. So it felt weird. I was like, oh, did she, like, have a part that was cut? Was Kirk like, you're giving lines to the guest star? Let me have some more shirtless fights? I don't know. Yeah, was not crazy about the ship scenes. I feel like they just didn't know what to do with the crew on the ship. And
Yeah.
they wanted to use them.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't know. It was like, oh yeah, we have to have Spock in here and McCoy because they're in the opening
Yeah,
credits,
but,
but it just wasn't.
There just didn't need to be the conflict. They just needed to be searching.
Yeah.
The search itself was enough of a
'Cause
plot.
Going back and checking the planet again, I guess
Yeah.
they could have just, all right, we checked the planet again.
Yeah.
Now let's go. And then there's no conflict, I guess. But
The
again,
one thing I liked about it was Spock saying something about hope and saying you guys rub off on me. Because I'm like, okay, there's some character development. There's something
there was
interesting
that.
there.
Yep.
Play more on that. Let's get into Spock dealing with trying to pretend not to have emotions when he's worried about Kirk or something.
Right.
Rather than,
I like. Oh, this is going back to the planet, but I like
Sure.
when Shauna and Kirk went for the jog. Because I don't think her outfit was probably very supportive for jogging. Do you, Colleen?
No.
Yeah.
I don't
And-
think those big boots aren't good for jogging.
I don't think that those are either. And then Kirk says, slow down. And she's barely...
I liked that, where
She
she's
was
like,
very-
oh, if you need a rest,
Yeah.
we'll stop. Yeah, that was pretty cool. Of course, she's been training and fighting all her life, and he's not.
I guess you're right. So she's probably such a superior athlete that she can make it look like she's not even exerting herself,
Yeah.
even though she's probably getting a good workout in.
I didn't think it was odd the brains were like, oh, we're so evolved, so we're just going to watch athletics
Yeah, it was a...
and bet on it.
Yeah, it was like they got halfway. Like, we have this great idea. They're evolved, so they just bet on everything. It's like, wait, that's it? That's the whole thing? It's like,
But then Kirk was all like, we're the master betters. We
Right.
bet on everything. And we developed all these planets. I'm like, really? You did?
yeah,
What?
we've already done it all over the galaxy.
Yeah, that seemed really ridiculous.
And
to
it seemed like Kirk shouldn't have to tell those guys that if they're really that evolved.
Uh-huh.
And I feel like they would know that, and they're just like, yeah, we know, we don't care.
And they fell for the whole "you're chicken McFly" bit.
Right.
I mean, oh, if you think you're better than us, then you won't mind a little wager. Unless you're not better than us.
Yeah, which I guess, no matter how evolved or superior you get, you still can get roped into, you can get goaded into a fight or...
They clearly weren't used to dealing with anybody challenging them in any way, so Kirk was easily able to manipulate them.
You would have thought they'd done that to each other all over time.
That's true.
Go to each other like, oh, you don't want... Why don't you bet 1,000 Quatloos?
See, I feel like their interaction could benefit from an episode of The Orville and McFarlane's dialogue.
Yeah.
I would love to see them busting each other's balls.
Yeah, that would be funny.
Realistically.
Yeah. Well, and I'd want to see it cutting to each brain as it talked.
And if McFarlane had it, they'd probably have CGI eyes and mouth.
Yeah,
Which would be great.
yeah. Like,
Super great.
yeah. Like Norm Macdonald's character. But yeah, I mean, I kind of like I like the idea that they were such true gamblers and they were true to their word, that they didn't welch on the bet when Kirk won.
Sure.
Although, yeah, he killed 3 people, right?
No, he
Or
killed
no.
2. They injured one, so they replaced her with Shauna because they
That's
said
right.
injury wouldn't work. And then she just surrendered, which was not
We didn't know that.
outlined.
Yeah.
Like, if all Kirk had to do would be like, hey guys, if you let me win, you guys get to go
Right,
free.
right.
And they all 3 just go, oh, we surrendered.
Yeah.
Like,
how
that's
come
all you have to do.
Nobody tried that before.
No.
I guess these other races probably aren't as advanced as Captain James T. Kirk.
I mean, I get why Kirk wouldn't kill her, of course,
Yeah,
because,
right.
I mean, it's just stereotypical nonsense, but it makes sense for the character in the series. But, yeah.
I did read originally her as Drill Thrall was going to be black, and they were like, I don't know if it was in Shell Nichols or somebody else was like, no, why would the black people all have, and the white people all get the white Drill Thralls or the white humanoid like people.
I mean, the Andorians only get Andorian drill throw.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that I don't know if that they just anyway they decided like that doesn't make sense. We're giving her Lars, poor Lars. He went so fast. Colleen enjoyed it. He didn't even see that spear coming. I don't know how he didn't, but he didn't.
I don't know.
How did he survive all those other fights?
Yeah, it didn't seem like there was enough of a population to really support any type of long-term
Well,
system.
Yeah, and in my memory, I thought there was a lot more fights and a lot more people fighting each other. Like there were a lot more battles constantly going on.
I really think they should have made some effort at scale versus like, oh yeah, there's only 8 of us living on this
Right,
planet.
exactly. And
Which can't be true. If Shadow was born there and
right,
raised and there's
right,
people...
and they've got all these powers to bring people there.
Yeah.
And it's, to me, as a gambler, I feel like they should have been betting on things constantly. There should have constantly been something going on. I know, and maybe they were, I suppose, but I feel like that couldn't be the only place where action. It wasn't just people killing each other. I feel like they bet on everything. Like
Maybe Kirk should have been like, oh, you like fighting to the death? Why don't you try baseball?
yeah, exactly.
Little bit less
Right,
violent.
something else. Yeah, exactly. Something else. I mean, I guess maybe it's wrong for us to assume that highly evolved races would need killing to.
Back to ancient Rome stuff.
Would need
Yeah.
that to. I don't know why they couldn't come up with. Why couldn't they gamble on a something where they didn't necessarily kill each other? Wouldn't that still be the same buzz?
Speaking of the Lion's Pit, that was the other line I liked, was, or the Fighting Pit, that was Spock saying, Daniel only had his faith.
Right.
I'll take you to McCoy. I like that. And that was, again, following up my alternate episode, like,
Oh, yeah.
this is the next morning. He appreciated all the comfort you got. I don't know why people ship Kirk and Spock so much. It's totally Spock and McCoy.
It's
Totally.
all the fireworks between them.
Man.
The bubble that was over the brains,
Yeah.
I read, was also the bubble in Lazarus's time machine spaceship thing.
That detachable lid that we saw sitting off to the side.
Yep.
That just looked to me like a Dave and Buster's game. Like the little spinny
Yes.
lights.
Yep. It looked to me like is it Trouble, where you used to have the
Yeah.
top where you have
Uh-huh.
the dice? Yeah. It also reminded me of that.
He should have just pushed down and the brains would have went popping around.
Why didn't he try hitting the glass?
I wondered about that.
I mean,
too.
I know he had the thing around his neck, but if he
He could have broken it before they shocked him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or shocked him enough. He wandered over by the control panel, and I forgot the
That
episode
was
ended, so I was just waiting for him to like flip it off.
That was the other thing. I was like, what's that control? Who handles the control panel?
Yeah.
Who does? I don't know how these.
Built the brains.
Yeah,
thing.
I don't know how they work.
Galt must have
Was
done
that
it. Joseph Ruskin, the guy with the glowy blue.
So
star
was
eyes.
he set free then too at the end? I guess.
I guess he
Was
seemed
he
to be
wearing
like
a
the one
collar?
in charge.
He
Yeah,
was-
he was wearing a collar, but it had all 3 colors on it.
Oh, that's right.
So he was like the game master, I guess.
That's right.
I did like when he actually called them. I don't know. No, they called themselves Gamesters. I think.
Yes.
I was like, almost. They almost said.
The Gamesters of Triskelion. He actually returned in the movie Star Trek Insurrection. That actor that played.
Oh yeah, I
yeah.
think he was in.
And Enterprise.
Yeah, he was in all of them except for Voyager, maybe.
He was in an episode of Voyager.
Yeah.
He played
Oh, okay. He
Vulcan.
wasn't Voyager. Okay.
Yeah, he's done a lot of Star Trek.
Yeah.
He did 3 episodes of Deep Space Nine.
There you go.
So he continued to come back over and over, and he looked a little bit older in this, but I guess
Yeah.
it wasn't that.
Yeah.
He was about 40 when he did this, and he lived to age 89. He died in 2013.
I liked his makeup too because he had all the white stuff all over
Yeah,
his
that
face.
was interesting.
So I thought he was the most interesting of all the aliens.
Again, they stepped up the production design. This
Yeah,
time.
yeah. But I would like to know more about that. I mean, I'm sure somebody's come up with it, but
Yeah.
I mean, and not that they needed to get into it in this episode, but it just made him more interesting to me.
How to get his position.
Yeah,
What was
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, this could have been a real. I wonder if there've been any novels that have taken
That's
off.
what I was
because
wondering,
I feel like
yeah.
it's ripe for it.
I didn't see anything, but I'm sure there is. I feel like there should be. It's a trinary system.
I mean, so you have to have at least 3 stories? I don't know. I was just trying to look up this episode, and it does. Yeah, I'm not seeing any novel spin-offs, but I am seeing that they're accusing Lady Gaga, one of her outfits, of ripping off
Oh yeah,
this episode.
that makes sense. Is it? I'm trying to.
Angelique Pettyjohns.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I wonder what video.
Yeah, she had some kind of silver outfit thing that was similar, I guess. This was the first episode produced after Gene Alcoon quit.
Oh,
John Meredith Lucas had taken over, which might be why the quality starts to go down.
So did Gene Kuhn leave just because he and?
Reasons.
Oh,
and,
okay.
Yeah, he wasn't doing well, and yeah, he was fighting a lot. And I know there's a lot of people talking about how he was what made the show so good for so long. And they described Shauna's attire as traditional Amazon attire. Female domination.
Yeah, I could see that. And if it wasn't already, it is now.
Originally, the episode was titled "The Gamesters of Pentathlon."
Oh yeah, I did.
Yeah, that's when George Takei was filming the Green Berets. That's why he wasn't in it. This is the episode that comes closest to "Beam Me Up, Scotty." When they say "Scotty, beam us up."
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have anything else on that. Any other notes?
That's most of mine. Other than I like the. I don't know if it's a musical thing or not, but whenever people disappear on Star Trek, it goes.
Yeah.
And then when they reappear, I just think it's weird.
They
Like, is that the
reappear,
actual
like,
sound
laying
that
down.
happens?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was weird too to me. It's like, why did they?
They weren't transported. They were like snatched. I think that was
Yeah.
to show us it wasn't
They were.
just like
They weren't beaming
a
down.
forgotten transporter effect. Yeah. So is Yeoman Tankris still yours? Or are you switching to?
Yes,
Shauna?
I'm sticking with. I thought I might go with Shauna, but I
Yeah.
was not swayed.
No, there was something about her.
She was a beautiful lady. Don't get me wrong, Angelique Pettyjohn.
Agreed. But yeah, I'll stick with Yeoman as Tankris. I don't remember. It's 2 episodes ago as well. Colleen, you still have Commodore Decker.
He's the guy that flew the little pod.
Shuttle to
Okay.
death. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with him.
Okay. Yeah, you haven't done the last few, so that's the one you still hung on to. And Zoe, what do you pick? She's too young. Let's rank the episode. Start at the bottom.
Yeah.
Better, worse than Cat's Paw.
I say it's better.
You think it's better than Cat's Paw?
Yeah.
I think
So.
slightly. Yeah.
I think I would. Yeah.
As silly as this was, the giant cat shadows and stuff were silly.
And the witches. And, yeah.
Yeah.
Obsession.
I liked Obsession better, probably. I think I was a
Did I
bigger
see
fan of
that?
that.
No, that was a
you weren't
recent
here for
one.
that one.
Yeah, I would put it below Obsession.
Yeah.
This is yeah. I agree. Cat's Paw's worse, but this is our second worst so far.
And I thought I remember this. I mean, I remember. I thought this episode would be a lot more fun than it was. I guess fun's a weird word because I just thought there, like I said, I thought there's more fighting and action, blah
Yeah.
blah blah, and there.
So far this season, almost all the best episodes were at the beginning of the season,
Yeah.
other than Tribbles and Journey to Babel.
Yeah.
And the last few episodes, other than those two, are at the bottom.
Yeah.
So I remember season 2 being like, and late season 1, early season 2 is when it was really hitting
Yeah.
stride.
Yeah.
But I thought season 2 lasted a little longer before they started sucking.
I did too, but every time I say, "Hey, what's next?" and you're like this, I'm like, "Arr."
I know, right? So we'll see. Hopefully there's still some other decent ones left.
I know there are. There definitely are, but at least in my memory there are. Hopefully
This
I'll-
episode was written by a woman, Margaret.
Yeah, I didn't.
Margaret Armin.
Armin. Yeah, I didn't get to follow up on.
She's known for Star Trek is one of her top things she's known for. She only has 30 writing credits.
Huh.
And she wrote an episode of Wonder Woman. She wrote a couple Land of the Lost, $6 Million Man.
Okay.
She had 3 episodes of Star Trek. This is the first one. She also did The Paradise Syndrome and The Cloudminders, which will be next season.
God, I don't remember the Cloudminders. Paradise Syndrome, I do remember.
Yeah.
That one I'm actually looking forward. That one I remember liking a lot. Paradise.
Yeah, I think that one was pretty good.
Cloudminders,
I don't know what that is.
Coming up
Next week, we're going to do a piece of the action, which is the Enterprise in 1920s gangster.
Yeah, and that's one I in my memory I never liked it that much, but
I didn't either, but I
So.
think it's relatively fun.
yeah.
Like, I don't think it'll be...
Yeah, that's what I'm.
I
Yeah.
think it won't be as bad as this episode.
At least more fun, hopefully. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're talking about Lady Gaga's Super Bowl outfit, but I don't think that looks anything like
Oh,
what
I don't know.
Shauna was wearing. But they do mention that Rihanna is a big Star Trek fan and did a song for Star Trek Beyond. So props to Rihanna.
Well, who isn't a big Star Trek fan?
Hey, there you go.
Okay, well then, join us next time. This will be a short episode, but I think that's what it deserves. And
Yes.
next time we'll be talking about a piece of the action. And have a good week.
Live long and prosper.